spend a lot of time reading and watching and listening to the news. It used to be a huge part of my job, like how if you grew up in the 90s, you had to have seen the most recent episode of 90210 to fit in at school the next day. I mean, like, of course, actually, if you were me growing up, it was the Golden Girls. It's so cool. I know. Anyway, that is ingrained in me forever because I still check the news constantly. So what's happening in the world is never really truly far from my mind. And most of the time, it's all bad, which is why I haven't really slept past 5 a.m. since, I would say, around 2003. I feel like I am reminded of the political stakes of our decisions and our votes every single day because the stakes are so high and everything is tied into them. Our ability as women to make our own medical decisions, our right to a clean planet where we don't have to check air quality before we leave our homes every morning, the freedom to go anywhere at all without wondering if someone's going to show up with a gun. Everything is connected, everything, to who our political leaders are, and it is terrifying. The only thing scarier is that some people just don't seem to care at all. A lot of people have just checked out because they think all politicians are the same. Why does it matter who ran in 2016 or 2020 or who's running now in 2024? And in a lot of the ways, they are right. We don't always love the options. But when they decide to check out, they are so wrong. Which is why I have some serious choice words for people who can't be bothered to care about the next election, who aren't as distressed as they should be that the frequently indicted Donald Trump is absolutely soaring in the polls. I will go hoarse trying to get people to care about this. Oh my God, hold your nose and vote for the best of the worst. I mean, sometimes that's all you can do. This is Choice Words. I'm Samantha Bee. My guest today is the current governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. Governor Whitmer is currently serving her second term and previously served as the minority leader of the Michigan State Senate. She is a fierce advocate for abortion rights and truly is exceptional at getting shit done. She makes me excited about the future of the Democratic Party, and I know she treats every election like it might be our last. She just launched the Fight Like Hell PAC to boost candidates in 2024, and I loved getting to pick her brain today. So take a listen, fight like hell, and make good choices. Oh boy, Governor Whitmer, I am such a huge admirer of yours. Wow, this is a thrill for me.
You're killing me because I've been a longtime fan of yours. So,
My heart is, my ego just, it just grew. Like it just exploded out of my, no one can contain me after this. Yeah, you Michigander women are forces to be reckoned with.
well, when there's one strong woman, it gives space for other strong women. So I think we kind of give each other oxygen, and it's good. We
Yes.
feed off of one another's like bold leadership.
Like a fire, like a beautiful forest fire, like a helpful, I always think if you want something done, you give it to a busy person. And I feel like you've said that yourself, perhaps in many different ways.
A million times. If you want something done, ask a busy woman.
Are you a list maker? Do you make lists?
Oh, I do. And I
Mhm.
found out that while I arise at 5:02 every morning, you get up 2 minutes
Yes.
earlier than I do.
That's right. You set your alarm for 5:02. Tell me what the decision making is behind the extra 2 minutes. It just feels less daunting.
Yeah, it feels like it's far enough into the 5 o'clock hour that it's not 4 a.m. It's a mind game.
I love it so much. I do get up at 5. I do get up in the sometimes I'm a 5:02 person, but I don't set an alarm. It's just the body wakes up.
Yeah.
Do you even need your alarm anymore?
I don't, but I still set it because, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
100%. And I am amazed actually that you even have remotely time in your schedule to talk to me. So, oh boy. Okay. All right. This podcast is really about the decisions and choices that people make. And so we're going to talk all about that. And we'll talk about choice writ large, obviously. But I want to say that, we all watch you make such public and such consequential decisions and choices. But is there a choice that you've made in your life that maybe we don't know so much about that has been so impactful for you?
Well, I often talk about the time in my life where I was a sandwich generation,
Hmm.
meaning I was simultaneously caring for my newborn daughter at the
Yeah.
same time that my mom was dying from brain cancer.
Hmm.
And I often talk about that as, I was forged in the fire. That's what made me who I
Right.
am today. It's why, I don't get distracted by things that aren't really important and I can stay focused on what matters,
Hmm.
whether it's healthcare or daycare, right? Those are two
Right.
things that I confronted during that time of my life. And that's why I do what I do. But I think, I made the choice to be the primary caregiver of my mom, even though I was a new legislator, a new mom, a new wife.
Hmm.
And throughout that process, we had to make a lot of hard choices that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. Having hard conversations with my mom, determining what kind of care she wanted and when she wanted to cease getting care.
Right.
And those are things that when the decision had to be made, ultimately I was the one who had to, because with brain cancer, she would lose her faculties over time. And so I reflect on that as a reminder to try to see the humanity in people, but also to get as much information as you can and to have conversations and then to make a choice, because not making a choice is making a choice. It's just the worst, most passive way that you can operate it.
Right. How did you know that you could handle all of that? How did you know, or did you not know, and you just dove in because you were like, this is what it is?
I didn't know.
Mhm.
Those were the cards we were dealt, and I had to do the best job I could playing them. And I think I had a lot of supports that most women don't have in that position. I had a
Right.
lot of advantages that helped me through that really hard time. And so I always think about being grateful for that, but also not forgetting that. And so that drives how I treat people. It drives what I focus on. It drives how I conduct myself in public, because I know people are watching and it makes a difference.
Right. So you've had to make such difficult decisions, like decisions that people live their whole lives avoiding, you know? So tough. And you feel like this has made you, do you feel like this has made you so decisive as a governor? Because you have to be.
Yeah, I do. You don't want someone who can't make a decision in a position of
Right.
power, right? In a position of authority or responsibility, because we're always going to be confronted with circumstances we don't predict. Pandemic,
Yes.
for
Like such
instance,
as such as a global pandemic, whatever.
or
No big
threats to
deal.
yourself, or all sorts of things.
Yes.
But my lived experiences have given me thick skin and the ability to
Hmm.
stay focused on what really matters. And so I heard recently that the greatest two attributes a person in this field can have is
Hmm.
thick skin and a short memory. And um, there, there are a lot of politicians that have thin skin and long memories, and they are dangerous.
They
Uh,
are
Thick
dangerous.
skin and a short memory, I think, has helped me navigate these times.
How many times I'm imagining how many times you've had to say it, but how many times have you actually said to people, I'm the governor, you cannot speak to me that way? You actually can't talk to me that way. How many times have you had to say it?
I've bitten my tongue. I've wanted to say it many times, but I gotta get through to the next moment, and can't repel people. But I
Yes.
got lectured by two leaders in the legislature, and they were lecturing me on the law. And the irony was, I was
Mhm.
literally the only lawyer in the room. So,
Get out.
I'm not unique. A lot of women deal with that.
Oh, wow. Yes, yes, we are accustomed to it. Are you with your team when you're working with your team, are you the type of person, like, do you enter a meeting already with a decision in mind, or do you like to build consensus? Do you like to explore, or does it vary?
I try to keep an open mind. I'm
Hmm.
not a epidemiologist or a medical
Right.
doctor or a public health official. So going through the pandemic is a very ripe, raw example. I
Yeah.
just try to make sure we had the brightest minds in the room. And I always ask for a recommendation. I ask a lot of questions. I want a lot of information and facts so I can make a good decision. But I move swiftly. We have to, in the moment that we've
Yeah.
been navigating. But so yeah, I ask a lot of questions, but I keep an open mind. I try to always,
Right.
because I don't know all the information. I got to ask it.
I feel like so many of us just observed your leadership during I mean, in general, but during the pandemic, and just went like, "Now, thank you for look. There's an adult." Like, there were so few adults in the room that we could really turn to go, "Oh, I feel like someone's guiding us through this to the absolute best of their ability and their knowledge." So I have to thank you for that, because we had very few North Stars, especially considering, like, at the federal level, we had none.
I took seriously, the University of Michigan, medical folks that were advising us, and
Hmm.
and I recall that crazy press conference where they were, you know, oh, can you drink bleach and
Can you
cure the,
can you
and
drink
and it
bleach?
just scared the heck out of me. And so
Yeah.
we're really mindful of trying to make sure we were always giving good, accurate information. And so I appreciate when you say that, because when I'm out and about, oftentimes people will say basically the same thing that you just said. And I'm glad to know that people were paying attention and that they made better decisions because we were getting out good information.
Yes, 100%. Do you feel like when you hear people on a national stage debating the merits of drinking bleach, did you think to yourself, I am where I'm needed the most? I feel like I can beat that.
Yes, yes. I mean, when I think about when I first ran for, any office I've held, actually, I've had to
Hmm.
survey what the options are and then
Yes.
figure out maybe I can do a better job, and that's what's always
Right.
has propelled me, whether I ran for the House or the Senate or for governor ultimately. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I when I was looking at some of those examples, I thought this is an important place for me to be in this moment.
Is that the metric that you have traditionally used when you've decided which office to run for at which time? You're like, I know I can do that, but better.
I care, and I would love to
Hmm.
support people who I have great confidence in, and I've learned enough about myself to know if I don't see someone that is doing the job that, is up to the
Right.
job, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and jump in.
Want to listen to the rest of this episode? Head over to your favorite podcast player to hear the entire show. I highly recommend it.